この音は和音の音なのでご注意ください。まだやります。マスラオ。聞いてください。次の歌、北斗の拳オープニング、愛を取り戻せ。
見てみちゃった。ちょっとそういった絶対ない。
Using the word oops. It's a good way to begin this clip. I just got out of my economics course here. It's actually the last course of the year. Last lecture of the year, that is. And was hanging out with my friend Maxime, and we talked for a little while and then parted company, and I decided that I would go get some food from the grocery store. But my Alps coordination system seems to be a little off. I made it to an Alps, but it's not the Alps I want to go to. It's an Alps that is much further away than the one I want. So basically I'm walking on a path that's come to be well trodden by me recently towards, again, Kawaguchi-gawa. I'm about 5 minutes away from that very reputable river, and I guess I'll just walk on that all the way to the Alps that I actually want to go to. It's very cold out here, and my mouth is not as responsive to some of the multisyllabic words that I like to use. So I'm not drunk, but my mouth feels like it is. So since I made a mistake and I'm having to reap what I've sown, I decided that instead of listening to Iron and Wine and singing for this interim between the wrong Alps and the right, I might as well make a clip, because the Saturday Special Part 2 show, which would logically follow Saturday Special Part 1, is mostly complete. I recorded like a 35-minute clip last week, and as soon as I don't know, record 20 more minutes or so, it should be good, the episode. So this clip might cash out that episode, which is okay. it should be pretty easy to finish out a few episodes, I think, maybe in the span of this week, depending how much walking I get to do and depending how much I want to say. So let's get to it. I had sent a postcard to my friend Angel, and I wasn't sure if he had gotten it. His birthday was, I think, earlier in December, and his address, when I saw it on Facebook to send the postcard, I wasn't quite sure if it was the right address. I just had this weird inkling of a feeling that it was the wrong spot. And so I actually had, I don't know, when I wrote the message in the postcard, I started it by saying that I hoped that if the postcard was sent to the wrong house, that they would somehow be able to get it to Angel. And in the postcard itself, I actually just, since it was Angel's birthday, I decided to tell him what, like, the thing I was most appreciative about him was. And he basically introduced me to the Beltline and to like a large community in Atlanta, just in general. Just he was the first person to really show me that Atlanta is not as cold of a city as it seems. You know, there are things to get involved with and be a part of. And I wrote that in the postcard. It was a pretty good postcard. I enjoyed writing it, and I felt like it was a pretty, substantial, meaningful postcard. And so I was happy that he sent me a Facebook either today or yesterday, maybe today, saying that he had gotten it, and that made me happy. So that's one order of good business, one order worth mentioning, and I just walked on to Kawaguchikawa, and perhaps you can tell that there's been a noticeable change in sound levels and noise levels, and perhaps even if this mic is sensitive enough, you might be able to hear the flowing water of Kawaguchikawa, which I've come to know quite well. So that's one order of business that popped in my mind as soon as I started recording. Another is today I started writing a new thing, which to me, I don't know, after talking to Stephen a lot through email, Stephen Avedon, about a writing that I had written maybe a couple months ago when I was actually still going to Tully's, the semi-local cafe that I had been going to almost every day up until a point recently. I guess when I stopped wanting to do my homework, my Japanese homework, and stopped really caring about that aspect of being here in Japan, I stopped going to Tully's. So whenever that was, if you wanted to find a 0.0, that would be what you needed to look for. So anyway, I had written this thing called Sesh, and if you're interested, I'll gladly send it to you. I'm pretty proud of it, but it didn't really go anywhere. I had written 14 pages, and I didn't know where it was going. I was depending on the character to show me which way it was going to go, and the character perhaps was a little bit too much of a reflection of myself, and I just sort of lost interest. And Stephen had critiqued it, and he told me a few things that he thought could be done to improve it. But I don't know, I wasn't very interested in trying to improve it. If the fire was there, I would write. If the fire wasn't, as it's not, then I just won't. So that thing probably will rest in peace. It's a cool little exercise in expressing ideas through paper and all, but I don't know if it's necessarily, reading material per se. It might have just been a personal thing for me. So I started writing a new thing today, and I think I'm calling it tentatively, I had a name. What was it? Fledgling something and impending doom. I don't remember the full title. Maybe I'll remember it before I get to Alps, but let's see. It's basically going to be about, 20 years in the future, and how 40 million people have left the United States of America and emigrated, with an E, to China and India so that they can find like white-collar jobs. And I got the idea for it while I was in my economics class. I didn't pay any attention to the lecture today, which is okay. It's the last lecture of the year and I don't really care. I've gotten a fair amount of information out of that class anyway, so I've basically sucked it dry enough for my own liking. So I had this idea. This first sentence came to mind where it was kind of like this guy is the narrator and he's saying there were basically two choices. So it kind of starts in medias res, or in media res, in the middle of things, as Mr. Patrick taught. Starts in the middle of the thought, and so it's like it came down to two choices. Either, what was it? I don't even remember anymore. Basically, it came down to either becoming a farmer or eating electronics. And so the story is going to have an undertone about like the explosion of technology and the neglecting of things like agriculture and I don't know, more of the manual labor that humans have depended on since the beginning of time to eat, to be clothed, to be, I don't know, housed, you know. The world seems to be shifting towards technology, and technology is a great thing, but if you neglect the basics in life, you know, that can be a problem. And so this guy is going to have a family, and he lives in Boston, but, you know, the cities have been torn apart because of rampant, riots and chaos that have broken out in major U.S. cities because of all of the lack of jobs, the rapid inflation, the collapsing of the consumer-based economy, things like that. And so it's pretty fun. I've only written 600 words so far, which is not bad considering I wrote those 600 words in a span of about 45 minutes, and there were some very solid paragraphs, maybe 6 paragraphs, just very solid, well-written stuff. I'm very happy with it, and I'll definitely encourage it to go as far as it may, which who knows how far that will be. Not me.
See how recklessly the pages I fill make headlines, believe them, come back. Make headlines, believe them, come back. Want to be upside down, maybe thrown from side to side. Want to fall from the clouds, sailing like a ship at sea. See how
talk real quickly about what I did yesterday, and then I'll probably be at Alps. As I'm walking, I see in the horizon the tallest building in Hachioji is 41 stories. And yesterday I had this I went for a very long walk, like a 5-hour walk, which is basically what I do now during the weekends. And I just had this extreme urge to get as high as possible, just in terms of elevation. And so I just walked around Hachioji and tried to find buildings that I could go inside of and, go to the top. Oh, I wanted to do it because the sun was setting. And if I could get to the tallest building, I knew that I'd be able to take some awesome pictures of Fuji. Yesterday I found this sort of over arch that takes you from one side of the street to the other for pedestrians. They can climb some stairs and then actually just cross the highway without impeding traffic. It's a good idea. It probably would serve a lot of good use in Atlanta, and it probably already is in other more progressive U.S. states. This sort of, canopy type crossing for pedestrians that doesn't interrupt the flow of traffic. So anyway, I went up on one of these little canopies, and I looked over at the top of it, and I could see Fuji, like a great view of Fuji. I had gained a pretty good deal of altitude just walking to where I was, and so I was looking down at like the city part of Hachioji, Ekimai kind of area, and in the distance, all the mountains I could see unobstructed by buildings or power lines or any of that ugly shit that always blankets every single scene. I try to take a lot of pictures, and you might have seen them on my Facebook and stuff, but usually it's hard to really get a good picture of like a natural or a scene of nature without having something like power lines or traffic lights fucking up the light. There's so many variables that don't help taking pictures. But I had found this really cool overhang, and so looking down at Hachioji, I could see this huge tall building. And I came to find that it was called the Southern Sky Tower. And interestingly, I took a picture of this same building on another walk to Hachioji, and I called it the Sky Tower, but I didn't know that that was the actual name. And it's not the actual full name. The full name is Southern Sky Tower. But anyway, so I want to, somehow I'd like to get to that Sky Tower and go to the top, because I know if I could get to the top, I could take some beautiful pictures of Fuji, even though my camera is a piece of shit. I think the perspective that I could get from the top of that building would be unrivaled. And I tried to go to other buildings too before I went to the Southern Sky Tower, because I had to cross the train tracks to get to the Southern Sky Tower, and that's pretty difficult. You have to go to like a specific bridge that goes over the train tracks. So I went to the top of an apartment complex that was 12 stories high, but I couldn't get to the very top roof. There was like this little gate thing, and I couldn't get around it, couldn't break the lock. And then I went to the top of the Sogo building, which my friend Maxime had told me about. It was a pretty weird place. The top of Sogo had like this very dilapidated looking amusement park that was sort of, half scary, half sad, half fun. I don't know, a lot of halves. It was not a cool place. It looked very boring. There were a bunch of children there that were like oblivious to the bad vibe. I think just because they were playing with the stuff. But overall, just not a very convivial place. But there were some great views of the mountains, and that was when I really viewed how big the Sky Tower was. So I went to the Sky Tower as well, but the Sky Tower is split into residential, office, and then like consumer. Like, so the first 4 floors are consumer-based stores, like you can buy things like food and stuff. And then the 5th and 6th floor are offices, and I couldn't get into the offices easily. and floors, I guess 7 through 41, are all residential, and I don't think it's going to be very easy, if at all possible, to get there. And even if I do get in there, I don't think it would be very easy to get to the roof or to a vantage spot where I could actually take a picture, because since this is like a residence, and I don't know, the layout of it is not very open. It's all closed. I'm not sure if there are any windows. But preferably, I'd like to get to the very top, just outside on the roof, and take pictures from the roof of everything. I think that would be great, but not very likely, I don't think, unfortunately. And as a matter of fact, I see the Sky Tower now. It's the largest building in Hachioji, as I said, and so it's sort of a benchmark. I think anytime I get lost, which it's been a while since I've been lost, I need to get lost again soon. It's a good benchmark just to kind of know where I am, what direction I'm facing, or at least what direction I need to go. I'm getting close to Alps. I'm about at the spot where I was talking about Christopher Hitchens in Saturday Special Part 1. So about, 300 meters away from Alps. So one quick little story. Because I wear shorts and because it's so cold, everyone's always asking me, "Samuku nai no?" It's like, "Aren't you cold?" And today was no exception. Several "Aren't you colds?" And after Maxime and I split up to go our separate ways, he's going to buy his Shinkansen ticket, his rapid, bullet train ticket to go to Kyoto over Fuyu Yasumi, winter break. There were some girls behind us that were talking really loud and talking about being cold and stuff. And when Maxime left, I turned around and talked a little bit to them and just said stuff about my usual spiel that I give when people are saying that I must be cold. Just that it's my fashion, it's my usual clothes. Mainichi fuku kiru, sono fuku wa mainichi kiru ze. I wear these clothes every day. It's my usual futsu no fuku, my usual clothes. So that was a funny little conversation to start the walk, and then I listened to Iron and Wine until I realized where I actually was and that I needed to right myself. So now I'm at the right Alps. It's my watch broke today. That's right, I forgot about that. It's 7:10, a little later than I would have liked to get over here, but Shogunai, my watch broke as well, and so it's hanging off my belt loop now, and I'll shut it off here and get ready to go into the Alps and keep listening to Iron and Wine. Buy some food. It should be fun. I really like buying food. It's a pleasure in this little thing we call life. It's a little pleasure. 'Cause when niggas stay hungry. Alright, so for now, that's good. Talk to you again soon. Bye.
Will you say when I'm gone away, my lover came to me, and we'd lay in rooms unfamiliar, but until now, until now, until now. Will you say to them when I'm gone, I loved your son for his sturdy arms. We both learned to cradle them, live without, live without, live without. say when I'm gone away? Your father's body was Judgment Day. We both dove and rose to the riverside. Oh, 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 oh. Riverside. Oh, 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 oh. Riverside. Will you say to me when I'm gone, your face is faded but lingers on, 'cause light strikes a deal with each coming night. Oh, 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 oh. 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 Coming night.
All right. Since the last clip, I was actually able to go and buy a new microphone sensor, I guess, for this recorder. One with a actual like noise canceling little sheath for it, like that little clothy thing that you see on microphones. And I'm really happy about that because the wind was sort of a problem, I think, on some of the earlier clips. And it's 6 o'clock now. I'm walking back towards the dorms. Been a long day. I found this abandoned house when I was walking along Asakawa, or Kawaguchikawa. And I went to investigate it and looked inside, and there were all these like prickly seed things that got all over my clothes and kept stabbing me. And so I got really frustrated with that and left the house quickly thereafter. And wasn't really in the mood to explore much after that. It sort of put me out of the mood. So I didn't actually end up walking all the way to wherever the terminus of Kawaguchikawa is, but I had made up my mind before that house messed up the vibe, that if by 3 o'clock I wasn't at the foot of whatever mountain feeds Kawaguchikawa, I would just turn around and conclude that it was a pretty long river. And so I was able to conclude that prematurely. There's some noise here. So, I'm walking back home now, after having played drums at the place where I play drums, KO Tower, and had some good green tea and some dates, actually. And I think it's about time to head on back. I just realized I'm not going the way I want to go. Turn around. It's been a long day out. I don't remember what time I started, but I know it was before 11. I think I may have left at 10:45, and so 10:45 to 6, not bad. I've been outside like all day. It's really cold out. Some guy came up to me who I know from the dorms, and he did the typical Japanese thing, "Samuku nai no? Aren't you cold?" And I was very cold. Pretty much chilled to the bone, and just didn't really care about responding in English. And I just said, "Yeah, I'm really fucking cold. Really fucking cold." And didn't really care that he definitely didn't understand. He was like, "Fucking cold." It's funny. Another example of that unimpinged language usage with impunity sort of deal. So now I'm walking home. And once I get there, I'll eat a nice warm meal and do some push-ups. Been watching some Christopher Hitchens things since I learned about his passing. Just to sort of honor who he was, kind of refreshing myself with his interviews and debates and stuff, his more recent ones. And I'll probably do that again tonight for a good degree. Actually, I have 2 videos, 2 Charlie Rose videos right now. Now, one is a Charlie Rose video of an interview with Jimmy Carter, which is interesting. Jimmy Carter's quite old. And I can't help but feel bad for Jimmy Carter because of the Iran situation that happened under his presidency. I feel like he feels a lot of guilt for that, or about that. Fuck, I'm still going the wrong way. God damn it. Okay, let's try this again. Let's try this one more time. Turn around. Japan's not really a confusing place if you can get past the language difference, I suppose. But in the cities, it's definitely hard to orient yourself because of all the tall buildings. You don't really know where you are until you get to a major road. And I just got to 2 roads, neither of which I wanted to go down. So I've righted myself, and now I know where to go because I went wrong both times. I can triangulate the right position I need to go on because I went wrong. So, turned around now. There was another note that I wanted to talk about. When I get back to the States, I think maybe for a graduation present or something like that, I'd like to do the Appalachian Trail. In the summer, I think it starts in Georgia. I'm pretty sure it does. There's no way it would start in Florida. That'd be ridiculous. And hike all the way up to Canada. And I'm thinking about whether or not to do it alone. I think it would be awesome to do with people, with friends. I know that I would like to do it with Ben Wills and Josh Liner, but I'm not sure if Josh would be able to do it because he's having to work, and he has a girlfriend who I think he wants to move in with next year after his lease with his current house is up. And it would be hard on them, I'm sure, for him to move out and go hiking for a couple months and leave all the expenses to his girlfriend. So I'm not sure if he'd be able to make it, but I feel like Ben probably would, because Ben, yelling. Ben, he's moving back to Atlanta right now, and I don't know why. I haven't heard from him for a while, and he's changed a lot as a person these past couple of years. When he first went to college, he was really into having fun, shall we say, and things have since reformed. He's become a Christian. He met this really awesome girl that he's crazy about, and things have really changed in his life. So I think he'd be a good person to go hiking with, but it intrigues me that he's moving back to Atlanta, because he used to live in Atlanta a couple years ago, because I think Atlanta was sort of what corrupted him to such a degree. But now I hear he's moving back, and it's not because he's graduated from the school in Tennessee that he was attending. So, as you can see, confusion. I'm sure you have no idea what I'm talking about, and I'm only reporting the facts, so I don't know what I'm talking about either. But regardless, I'd like to go with him. I think he and I would make a good team for that kind of expedition. I have a lot of friends, and I can't see them all being apt or willing to go. Yeah, that's about it. So, that's a new thing I want to look into when I return, definitely. This hiking thing has got me really super intrigued, and since I live in America, and the Appalachian Trail basically starts in my backyard, most likely, I think it'd be a great thing to do. It's a super famous trail, super famous, and it'd be cool to hike it. It's like 2,000 miles or so. I'm really interested. I'd like to do that. So that's another thought.
down at the ancient gate. You go wherever you go today. You go today. I remember how they took you down as the winter turned the meadow brown. You go wherever you go today. You go today. When I'm walking, brother, don't you forget. It ain't often that you'll ever find a friend. You go wherever you go today. You go today. You go wherever you go today. You go
I'm trying to think if anything worth noting happened since I last made a clip. I don't really think so. I'm trying to remember. I know I turned around. I had made the decision that when I walked back, I didn't want to walk along the river. I was kind of bored with that scenery. And I knew that the road that was parallel to the river the whole time would most likely take me back to Ekimai, Hachioji, which it did as soon as I found it. And I just walked, listened to music, thoughts. What else? I don't know. When I got into Hachioji, the first thing I did was go and buy some dates and some green tea from Daiei. And in doing so, I actually had to walk by that CFB's store again, the guy who took my camera, tried to break it. So, I don't want to live in fear of that incident, and I don't want it to govern the ways that I feel comfortable walking through the city. So I still walk by his store, and I walk directly in front of it, but I do pay enough heed to what happened, I guess, to not... I don't look into the store, I want him to know that he didn't shake me that much, but I still respect that what I did he did not like, and I don't intend on repeating it. So, walked by his store, straight into Daiei, ate dates, one green tea, a can of warm green tea, walked around the store and just looked at all the food, and I thought that was fun, and so I bought some figs and another green tea and did the same thing again. So, nice little snack after a few hours of walking. Those walking hours still not quite complete. And then I went and played drums over at Keio Hachioji. I was going to go to what I guess is the best example of the international market in Ekimai and record some soundscapes from there with a little bit of audio over it, but after I went to buy the new microphone, which I'm using now, I didn't really want to go there anymore. I guess I'd had enough of the noise and everything, and I don't know. The noise itself becomes kind of like a symphony, and it's kind of hypnotic. It's like so noisy that you can't hear it, if that makes sense. You get used to it really quickly, and your brain just sort of shuts it out as actual input. It's more like, I don't know, if you came to a solid white wall you would notice it at first as being a solid white wall, but then you would just sort of get used to it, and it would just be part of the background. And that's sort of what that noise, this classic Japanese noise, is. They flood all of the department-type stores with noise. It's hypnotizing. It's pretty much no good. Snapped a lot of good photos today. Good mix between like nature and urban scenes, I guess. Pretty happy about that. It'll be a small little album. Probably discard maybe 20 of the photos I took, most likely. And the album is gonna probably cover a couple of days, like a week's worth of photos that I've taken since I went to Odake with Quick. Running dry, definitely. I think I'm really excited to have this recorder. You know, now I'm thinking about... No, this is okay. Is this okay? I can't remember. Ineos. Oh no, this way is fucked. I need to turn. Now that I have this recorder, I'm really going to kind of change sort of the feel of this podcast. I don't want it to necessarily solely be about me, my thoughts and everything, because, you know, that is a big part of my life. Maybe 75% of my life right now, since I've been in Japan, is very internal, very personal, very to myself. But I'd like to incorporate other people, because since I've been here, I've met a lot of interesting people from around the world with a bunch of different perspectives, and I've had a host of good conversations with all these different types of people, and it really would be a shame to not go for one more round with each of them and try to record something of substance. Just, you know, some people like to take pictures, some people like to do stuff to remember things, but if I could get conversations, that's gold. So I'm really going to strive for that. Right now, I'm walking. I'm about halfway back to the dorms or so, but when I get to Asakawa, the river which Kawaguchikawa feeds into, I have the choice of crossing the river to an adjacent road and following that road. Back to the dorms, sort of an alternative route, and I'm definitely headed that way. Although, I have no idea where I'm going now. So, where in the hell do oh, okay. I see. Okay. What the hell is this? Anyway, so it's very clear, very cold night, much like it was the other night. So as soon as I get onto the actual river and walk along that bank, I'm sure it's going to be really, really bright stars, just a pitch black sky. I'll be able to probably find the moon, wherever it might be hiding, obscured by all these buildings. I think I see some of the radiant light peeking over some of these buildings, but I'm not really exactly sure where it is. I'm looking forward to that. It would be a nice way to finish up the evening. Everyone last night, all the people at the dorms, went to this event. It was like an event for a school musical group. I don't remember. They're called the Soul Plug. And everyone was pretty excited about that. Now, I couldn't give us some shit about that, and very happily did not go. But it started at 11, so people left around 11:30 or so from the dorms. And the event went till 5. So yeah, that's pretty ridiculous. I'll talk to Brittany till 5:30, but I sure as hell don't want to go to some stupid site. Don't want to go to some event that's like $20 just to get in, and then I don't know. I mean, the music probably would be stupid. I'm being pretty pessimistic about it. Pretty unfair. It's not really that bad of a thing, but just thinking about it seems really stupid. But my roommate Todd, the infamous Todd now, I've mentioned several times in these last couple episodes, he lives with his girlfriend, but he came to the dorms last night and stayed the evening because his girlfriend was going to be working today, and so he decided that he would go to this event as well. And so he left after hanging out at the dorms. I had left to go buy this recorder at about 8 o'clock. He got home at about 10:45 or so, and just started doing push-ups and stuff, as is usual. And so I didn't really hang out with him much. I kind of realized how much my time is very important to me, because he isn't usually at the dorms, so it was a special occasion. But even so, I didn't really want to give up my routine and my desires for what I wanted to do that night. So I didn't really see him much after getting back from Ekimai. So anyway, this morning at around 6:45, I heard my door open, and I had wondered if I would hear my door open and hear Maxim, my friend from Ukraine, trot in, and he was leading Todd, and Todd must have just been like, just ridiculously drunk, just like, I don't even know. I heard them speaking, and Maxim was sort of trying to undress Todd so that he could, I don't know, sleep comfortably, because Todd probably had his vest and shoes on, and I heard Todd say, like, Maxim, I ran to you. I ran. I didn't know where you were. And the Russian girls, and I ran to you. And I have no idea what he was talking about, but I was just really worried that he was going to like get sick in the room. And I could still hear people awake out in like the common room. Probably everyone came home together or something. And so I was kind of worried about Todd being okay. It sounded like he fell asleep immediately as soon as he hit the pillow. But then, like, he snored a few times, and then I heard the door open, and he left. And I have no idea where he went. And he didn't end up staying in my room, at least, last night. So I have no idea what happened. Very curious to ask soon. I'm trying to cross the road right now. Some bullshit, stupid traffic. I wonder if I could just do it. See if it's good. Yeah, this doesn't look that bad. Fuck it. Alright. Not bad. Cool. Get away from all that fucking noise. I'm passing by the post office right now.
Give me your hand. The dog in the garden room is covered in mud and dragging your mother's clothes, cinder and smoke. The snake in the basement found the juniper shade. The farmhouse is burning down.
I read this article recently that my uncle sent me, and it was a nice little article. My uncle Stephen loves to read the New York Times, and so Stephen sent me this article. It was entitled something like Time, Distance, and Reflection, or something like that. That sort of a feel to it. And the article was all about this guy who used to live in Rome for 2 years of his life, and he had moved since then back to, I guess, America, the United States, and he recently went back to Rome, and just sort of was in the same area he used to live, and just, it was amazing how much he was seeing. Even though he had lived there, he didn't remember, like, these little things that he was seeing, seemingly for the first time. And so he was reflecting on that feeling, like, when you go back to a place where you have these strong memories because you lived there, it can be amazing just how much you took for granted while you were there. Just because it was so routine, so normal, so, I don't know, part of your everyday scenery. And even right now, I'm passing by this strange electrical tower that is, like, literally 5 feet away from this house. Like, there's a house directly in front of me right now, and their backyard is completely taken over by this electrical tower. And it's like the stupidest thing I can ever imagine having in my backyard. And I'd be so pissed if my backyard was fucked up because of this stupid electrical tower. Not to mention the fact that I don't think people know for sure if this kind of electrical exposure is healthy for humans, or if at least it's okay. I'm sure it's not healthy, but hopefully at the very most it has a neutral effect. But something like that, for example, like I've noticed that, and I've noticed it every time I've done this walk, just how strange it is. And it's like those little special things that are, part of your everyday experience, but I don't know, they sort of dull in their profundity with each viewing, with each tasting, with each, every time you use your senses, you sort of dull the experience for the next time, And that kind of goes back even to what I was talking about earlier with the going other places and getting that refreshing kind of feeling for the place that you're used to. So when I go and hike Odake, spend a whole Saturday doing that. The following Sunday, I feel really good about going to Ekimai because I sort of missed Ekimai. I felt lost when I was in Odake, and it was strenuous both on body and mind. And the trip to Ekimai is just so routine. I know it so well. I know it. I've been so many times. I have a strong affinity for it, a strong knowledge of it, and so that's sort of my experience of what this article was about. But since I read that article, I've been more cognizant of the fact that that's an important thing to be aware of in your everyday surroundings. Just the special things that you take for granted that make, I guess, life beautiful in one way or another. And I don't know, I've always appreciated these rivers that I walk along, and I don't think that would be hard for me to appreciate every time. But other things that I don't like the vending machines everywhere. That's a double-edged sword, because I love them, but I hate them. Those sort of things, just to be aware. Alright, I just peed under a bridge. Had to take a pause. Had to take a piss. More like it. I drink a lot of water, and I think I've said enough about what I was just talking about, plus the urination sort of switched my thought train anyway to drinking water. Because I drink a lot, like water. But now I got to walk back up this hill, get back onto the path. I like these little bridges. There's one bridge in between these two roads that I travel back and forth on. There's three bridges. One bridge on the far-sided road, more towards the west. There's a bridge in the middle, and then there's a bridge on the east. And I just like those bridges. I like the water. It's nice. I have a project coming up soon for my economic class, and I'm really not looking forward to doing it. I'm tempted to not do it at all, aside from the fact that I know that even though that's a desire, that will probably not be a reality. I'm not the kind of person to neglect that kind of a responsibility, and I would be surprised if I all of a sudden adapted the qualities to make that happen. Man, it's really dark right here. Very cool. The moon's not out. I guess it's going to be one of those nights where it comes out later. Much, much later. So, that's sort of been in the back of my mind. I need to make a formal outline, do some research. It's an interesting topic, and I definitely wouldn't mind researching the overall general topic. It's basically Japanese technology from the perspective of Japanese energy usage. So, I need to write basically introduction, 3, supporting paragraphs, and then a conclusion. So, introduction into Japanese technology from a aspect that deals particularly with energy usage, and I'm going to talk about the types of energy use and where the, sources for this energy come from. That'll be the first paragraph, or the first topic within the topic. The second topic within the topic is going to be about the Japanese power usage's effect on environment. And then the third topic within the topic will be Japan, basically currently, and specifically taking into account what happened at Sendai and Fukushima, and with the future of nuclear power in Japan, what that means for Japan, what will change, if anything. So I know the general outline of what I need to do, but it's the process of research and actually taking the time to not do one of these walks, to actually sit down and write the paper. I just really don't want to do that. I keep getting these glimpses that school is just not for me. I think school has been commoditized. It's been made into a commodity. And it's just lost its very powerful potential to craft a person's mind, to really shape it. Now it's just okay, well let me backtrack. My romanticized idea of what school is starts 2,000 years ago, and for purposes only relevant because 2,000 years ago was around the time that the Greeks existed, 3,000 years. Romans really with 2,000. And it was during that time that the ability to preserve history and human thought really took off. The library in Alexandria, Egypt, and as far as Western civilization is concerned, I guess Greece is really the most important part and most important place to look into when you want to know the history of Western thought. So anyway, starting from Greece, you have people who had a natural caliber and a natural ability to, cogitate. if I'm using that word right, to basically just to think and to be creative and to question the world around them. I guess the Greeks really, it was the first emergence of the scientific method, which is why they're credited for starting, I don't know, what is contemporary Western ideology when it comes to science, philosophy, so on and so forth. And so you had the time back then when I'm sure there was no such thing as tuition, university fees, class registration, all these little bullshit things that pretty much dominate school life currently didn't exist. Schooling was more, it had to have been more of an organic process, more of a holistic sort of thing. Like, you can be a part-time student, you know. That sort of, to me, that sort of sums it up pretty well. Like, part-time student, you can be a part-time worker as well, fixing toilets, but it doesn't necessarily do anything to, I don't know, improve your skill set, you know. Schooling has just become such a, I don't know, something that's just expected, more of something that's tedious and part of some sort of like unconscious direction for people. It's assumed that you'll go to school. So anyway, school, I feel like I identify more with that holistic, ever-present curiosity that is the original foundation and starting point from which actual learning occurs. And so it makes me frustrated with school because, by and large, I learn a lot every day, but I guess the way they test and the things that they want me to do are just so useless. This is a classic student argument about how, when are we going to use this, man? That sort of an that sort of an argument. And I don't really want to venture into that because I don't really have anything but contempt for that sort of idea. But at the same time, to speak out of the other side of my mouth, I really don't like the reality that I'm going to have to spend quite a few hours constructing this research paper. And my group is really lackadaisical. We're supposed to meet several times already, back in early December, and it's already the 17th, and we only just met with our teacher, and we're supposed to have already met with her twice by this time. So I don't really know how well everyone is going to come together for this. So I'm definitely likely going to just, I don't know, do most of the work by myself. Don't really want to have any help, and I don't really want to give any help, because I don't really think these other people in my group give a shit either. And I can't blame them for that. It's sort of a strange vacation being here in Japan. Not quite vacation-y, but vacation-y enough to not really want to do work. Just want to explore, go look, miru dake. That's sonna kanji. I'm approaching an intersection. I might call it quits here for now. This clip's already 30 minutes, so yeah, call it quits. If I think of anything else, I'll come back. The walk is about 20 minutes from being completed, so I might have a whole new podcast just right here. Who knows? Talk to you soon, hopefully. Bye.
How did that loneliness smile all the time? Shine your teeth till meaningless and sharpen them with lies. And whatever's going down, follow you around. That's how you fight loneliness. You laugh at every joke. Drag your blanket blindly. And fill your heart with smoke. And the first thing that you want will be the last thing you ever need. That's how you fight it.